Hey, I'm Jenny.
And I'm Hillary, and you can call us
The Garden Tarts.
Kissing lips and breaking hearts.
We have been bestest friends for over 25 years, and we love to talk you too.
We've had some super ridiculous adventures, and now this podcast, which is pretty much all opinion with a handful of facts thrown in.
Why a U2 podcast? Because as much as we love talking U2, we know you do too.
So sit down, grab a drink, and find us on Instagram and Twitter so we can chat. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Hillary.
How's it
How
going?
are you? Oh,
I'm good.
Good. I'm so glad to be back.
I am too. It's been forever. And I have to apologize because I've had this awful cold, so it's prevented us from recording for like 2 weeks.
But I don't think you need to apologize because you're actually saving people from listening to your snotty self.
It really is true. I sounded like a dude for a while. I had this deep, raspy voice.
At one point, it didn't even sound like you.
No,
I was like, that is a dude.
I was sick.
I know. I'm so glad you're better.
Yeah, me too. That just sucked.
Yeah.
And when I should have been preparing for our podcast, I was watching Criminal Minds.
As you do.
As you do, because I just couldn't concentrate on anything but apparently murder and such.
Yeah. Seems like
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. So should we say we have gained so many new listeners from all over the world, and I'd like to give a few shout outs.
Please, who do we have new?
A good handful of them. We have reached Reno, Nevada, and Valley City, North Dakota. And also in the States, I want to give a huge shout out to whoever's listening in Boardman, Oregon, because that's like, they're top of the list. Apparently they listen to everything. So whoever you are, and maybe you have friends there, like, dude, reach out because we want to give you a virtual social high five. You are awesome.
Thank you.
We've hit some new countries. Peru, Sweden, Denmark, Nova Scotia and Canada, Austria, the Netherlands, and just recently, Slovenia and Iran.
Very cool.
Yeah.
If you just drop us a line and let us know how you heard about us, or
I know. We're just like tickled pink
very,
that you're
very
listening.
happy.
Very,
Very
very
happy.
cool.
So we're going to have an episode coming up in the next couple months where you ask us questions and we answer them. We can't promise we'll answer every question, but you can ask anything. Personal, about the band, our experiences with the band, whatever. And we'll entertain answering your questions and we'll give you a shout out.
Yeah. And once we have enough questions to fill an episode,
then we'll
do it.
Record that one. So if you do have questions or comments or anything, hit us up on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, we are at _garden tarts on both. You can just directly add us or message us. We'll see it either way.
Also, we are planning in the future as well a newsletter that you can subscribe to.
Yeah, like an email you'll get that will probably initially just be like, hey, there's a new episode out. Don't miss it. But we're hoping to have some special listener content that you can only get in that newsletter.
Just there, nowhere else.
Yeah. So you can, if you go to our website, which is just thegardentarts.com, you'll see it pop up and you can sign up right there. We won't like spam you with stuff. Like if you like YouTube stuff, you'll like the newsletter.
It's just Garden Tarts exclusive.
Yeah.
You won't find that information anywhere else.
No. Maybe we'll have some fun new whiskey drink recipes.
We might do that. And speaking of which, what are you drinking, Jenny?
I have the Jameson, or the Stout edition from the Caskmate series. I ran out of my Screwball, which is my new favorite thing in the world. And I had this bottle, and I told myself I'm not allowed to go buy more Screwball until I drink this.
Well, I am drinking Screwball.
Of course you are.
Because it's just that good. If you haven't tried Screwball, you should try it out. They're also on Instagram.
They are.
SKREWBALL.
Peanut butter whiskey. And I think at some point, we need a drink called the Garden Tart that is centered around Screwball.
Yeah, maybe we should have something that's a little tart, though. Drink with Screwball that incorporates garden tarts.
Yeah. I don't know. There's got to be something out there.
Yeah,
There's something.
we'll make it up.
Maybe there's some kind of tart, like if you think kind of a peanut butter and jelly kind of thing, maybe there's like a tart, like little fruity thing that goes with it.
Maybe we should message Screwball and see if they can help us.
I think
Come
that's a
up.
good idea.
Yeah. And we're not being sponsored by Screwball or anything. We just like it that
We
much.
just genuinely love it.
We have no sponsorships except for.
Yeah, our only sponsor is Anchor, which is the podcast service we use to publish our podcast. Don't worry, in a little bit, you'll hear a little ad about it.
Yes. We just really like Screwball that much. That's why we really incorporate them into our podcast that much.
And it does not replace our love of Jameson.
No,
it's just very different.
No. We might have some Jameson news on the horizon. But let's not discuss that until it goes down.
There has been a big Jameson announcement, but we'll wait till it's in hand.
That's exciting. Oh my God. I can't even.
Oh my God. My brain just exploded all over again.
Life altering.
Well, we are finally going to talk about Rattle&Hum.
Which is, obviously an album and a film.
A movie.
Yeah.
And
so, hey, Jenny, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What's this film about?
Well, it's a musical journey.
Do you know how long
I said it was going to be about?
Is film expensive?
No, it's the cheapest thing. Is that the right answer?
How long I've been... That's the right answer. You know how long I've been waiting to say those things?
So this episode of our podcast is going to be... Like, this isn't the album in order or the movie necessarily in order. It's everything on the album. No, it's everything in the movie, and then we'll talk about the extras on the album. So hang with us if you're like, no, that's not the track list. There is a little rhyme to our reason.
Yeah, we've got it. Just play along. Well, the album was released on October 10th, 1988, and the movie was released on October 27th, 1988.
Oh, very close. Okay.
Yeah, the album is described as a hybrid live studio album, which I really like that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, the album was fairly well received. The movie, however, was not, but I have stuff to talk about that later.
Yeah.
I personally think it's fun. It's quality.
I love the movie.
I love it too. It's entertaining. I just understand critics. I absolutely understand what their objections to it.
Yeah, especially in the moment. Like, oh God. Okay, so here's the thing. My microphone is in a cat bed.
And now there's a cat in the cat bed.
To help with the sound. And now there's a cat in the cat bed. Like, why? Why can't I just record? Without all of this, you're not helping.
But if you had a box sitting behind you, the cat would pay no attention to the cat bed.
It's true. Oh, you pain in the ass. So I first saw the movie. We talked about this a little bit before when we talked with your brother Jeremy, how I came into the band with Octane Baby, and I can't wait to talk about that in that actual episode.
So excited.
But, I know, me too. But it was, so two of my friends, if you listened to the last episode, told me I had to get that album. And I did. And then one of those friends, Allie, said, and then we both would start talking about U2 and stuff a lot. And one day we were having a sleepover or something. And she's like, Jenny, we're not really U2 fans until we've watched Rattle&Hum. And I'm like, okay. So I'm sure my dad drove us to Blockbuster. And we went and got Rattle&Hum. I don't think we were driving it. We got it. And I just remember, I can picture the room. I know how I was sitting on the couch. And this was really, I had seen the video for Mysterious Ways and stuff, but I hadn't seen the band. This was the first time I had seen the band. And I just were it was just silence through this entire movie. And I'm guessing she'd seen it before. I'm not really sure. But I just remember at the end, we were dead set. We were going to see them in concert, and we were going to get Bono's attention.
How'd that work out for you?
I think we did pretty well. Yeah. Actually, I've never seen a show with her. that didn't After high school, we didn't really. Actually, we're friends on Facebook. I'm gonna send her a message that I talked about her in this
Oh.
episode.
So I saw the movie at the then new movie theater, AMC, at Patrick Henry Mall, which is now defunct. The mall's still there, but it's pretty defunct too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still there and operating, but there's no movie theater there. But it was a brand new movie theater, and I can't tell you who I saw it with, but I remember there were 4 movie posters, one for each member of the band.
Oh,
I
fun.
have one of those. I've searched high and low for them for years. I have one, and it is Larry's.
Of course it is.
I've searched everywhere. I was determined to get all 4 of them.
That's the only one that's for sale.
And I got Larry,
Everyone else
and
is hanging on to the other one.
haven't really right. I haven't really looked in many years. I'm pretty sure that the Larry poster dates back about that far, but
Yeah.
I love the movie. I really love it. I just am able to take a step back and look at it from a non-obsessive crazy fan point of view, and I see why it was not that successful. I mean, I know that what they kind of intended the film to be ended up not being that. Fun fact, though, the original title was U2 in the Americas. Did you know that?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was supposed to be filmed in Chicago and Buenos Aires later in 1987, but they had production problems, so they switched to Tempe and Denver. Originally, the band was going to finance the movie themselves and release it to a small number of theaters as an independent film, but because it went over budget, Paramount bought it, and then it became this
It's an entirely different project.
totally different.
A beast.
Yeah, a literal beast, a monster. Anyway, so the first night they started off filming was in Denver, and it apparently was a poor performance because Bono found it hard to connect with the crowd, with the cameras, which I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously plays for us, but the tickets, flashing forward, the tickets to the Tempe show were $5 a piece.
What?
Which was, that's, I mean, you know, inflation and everything, but tickets weren't $5 back then.
No. They worked hard to fill that stadium.
Yeah.
Damn, did it work.
But they sold out really, really, really quickly. I think that the band kind of, before the movie, they must have, and this is just my commentary, but they must have watched a lot of The Last Waltz, which was, you know, probably I think, one of the greatest rockumentary kind of, it wasn't a rockumentary though. That was an actual just concert film, which was directed by Martin Scorsese. And I think that they probably had that in mind, and like Stop Making Sense by the Talking Heads. And U2 somehow got stuck in the middle of that. And this is Spinal Tap. And when you think of it again, The Last Waltz was directed by Martin Scorsese, and Spinal Tap goes to 11.
Yes.
So,
and then there, right in the middle, is Rattle and Hum.
Right in the middle, right there. So they got stuck, I think. Which, again, I feel bad about saying anything that's not, you know, complimentary about the movie, because I love it and it's very dear to my heart. But I get that it wasn't I get that it wasn't a success.
So I have a question to ask Bono over Whiskey and Cake now, and that is that, like, after the backlash from the release, like, they had such huge intentions to, like, kind of tell their story and show their admiration for America with this. Like, in hindsight, would he go back and change anything for the movie? Like, is there anything that they could have done differently to, maybe knowing what the critics thought, would they change anything?
So I think my question is similar to that. I really want to know, like, again, not a soundbite, but what were they thinking? Like, really, what went through the mind of a 27-year-old with this film? Because it just, to me, nothing about this seems like 1987 U2. Nothing about it.
No.
Like, looking back, it's so uncharacteristic of them to have this movie. And I mean, I know what they say and everything, but I really want a for real answer. Right. What were you thinking?
And there is a soundbite that is, you know, we weren't trying to be the biggest We were trying to be the best, and that's why instead of doing a quick 2-part album and movie, they did 2 separate projects and a book.
I've never seen the book. Have you ever seen that book?
Me neither, but apparently it was on the bestseller list.
Yeah, I saw that too. We'll have to research that a little bit. Yeah.
Like, we weren't doing it for quick money. Hey there, listeners. If you're a U2 fan, you are more than likely aware of the work that Bono has done and continues to do in Africa. It's amazing work, and the exciting thing is you can get involved too. There are 2 simple ways. 1. Go to one.org and sign up to fight against extreme poverty. 2. Visit red.org to shop. What? Shopping helps? It sure does. By purchasing Red branded products, you are contributing to the Global Fund, which supports HIV/AIDS grants in many African countries. As your man says, where you live should not decide whether you live or whether you die. So head on over to one.org and red.org to join the Garden Tarts in doing our part to end AIDS.
And I do think that they kind of lost an opportunity with rattle&hum. Like if they had, like it starts off with the black and white and then it goes to color and back to black and white. And I feel like there was just something about it that it's not smooth. It doesn't go through smoothly. You don't watch it smoothly. It's kind of a mishmash, but again, I love it.
I guess I came at it, after the fact. I didn't know anything about the criticisms of it and the critics until much, much later in my fandom. And I was like, what? I mean, now in hindsight, I can go back and look and see, like, in the moment, how their career was going, what the perception was, like, how that all absolutely happened. But as a young fan, I just absolutely just ate it up. Yeah. Here's a fun fact, is that there was a big worry that when it went to Paramount, they had a color film budget, but black and white doesn't cost as much. So there was this big concern that they weren't spending their whole budget. And what would people think? I mean, or like the executives, like what would the Paramount people
think about the But I mean, it went over budget. It was not highly acclaimed, but it still made money. It didn't lose any money. So I don't know. I mean, as through this episode, I have tons of not good stuff to say, but I think I have more good stuff to say.
Something else just a little interesting going into it, because we just talked about the Joshua Tree, and we've been talking about the Joshua Tree for like a decade now. While the Joshua Tree is about America, is very critical of America, especially politically, rattle&hum is really like, this is the love letter to America. Yeah. This is the celebration of the music, the celebration of the people, the wide open spaces. I think this is what people think Joshua Tree is.
Right.
People think Joshua Tree is a celebration of America when it's not. Well, this is, I mean, minus some of the Joshua Tree songs that are on here. It's all in full love letter, sending fan mail to the P.O. box.
Right.
So here's a little fun fact. So there was a fun interview, and I think, I forget where I got this from. It might have been in Propaganda, where they asked about, besides all the premieres, and they went to almost every premiere, had they seen the film? And Bono said that they actually did. He and Adam went to a showing in Los Angeles, and they just went in the very back. And apparently there were some people in front that were big time Adam fans, like people right in front of them, and they'd be like, "Oh, he's on the screen, blah, blah," and Adam's in the back, like they had no idea that Bono and Adam were there. And then the interviewer asked, "Was it like being at your first ever U2 gig?" And Bono said, "It was an odd experience because I've never been to a U2 concert."
And spoiler alert,
are you having a little conniption over there?
Yeah, I am, and I have to say, spoiler alert, which I'm sure we'll go into.
You had like a little seizure there.
I did just have a little seizure. He said that 8 million times, and one time I was fortunate enough to have a small conversation with him, and he said that to me, and I'd had a few drinks. I was feeling good, and had apparently no inhibitions whatsoever, because he said that to me. I've never been to a U2 concert before. I've been at them, and I'm thinking, you've said this 8 million times in every publication in the world, and I'm standing in front of you as one single person, and I don't need just talk to me. I don't need a sound clip.
Right. So what did you say to
So
him?
I said, well, good luck with that. I said, good luck with, being to a U2 show.
Right.
Like,
So,
good luck with that because it's never going to happen. I mean, obviously, you'll always be at them, but
right.
you've never been to them.
Yeah,
And good
that's
luck with
just
that.
physically impossible.
Yep. So that's it. And I'm sure I'll talk about that more later, but I cringe when I hear it because, oh my God,
Oh
just
my
have a normal
God.
conversation.
Right.
Just
Good
like a
luck with
normal
that.
human. I just really didn't need the soundbite. I don't know. I'm so glad. I love the story though. I wouldn't take that back for anything.
Yeah.
And he looked at me like, you're a smart ass. And I'm like, I know.
And not in a kind way.
No, he
He was
didn't.
not pleased.
He gave me a
I
big
mean,
hug after I said it, but I think that was because he was about to walk out of the room. Just like, let's just end this now. Yeah.
I have just like two other quick little things. I think they're also from that propaganda interview. And they asked if they would change anything. And Bono's like, he said, it's gone now. I think we were pretty uncompromising in the making of the movie. A lot of people would have liked to have gone various other different ways. It could have been the monkeys with the outtakes. There's some ridiculous outtakes. It could have been an in-depth psychoanalysis of the band. It could have been those things and people could have got to know us more as people, but we felt very strongly that this was about us as musicians first and foremost. I think they had like some really big, strong intentions.
Yeah.
And the movie just didn't come off like
No.
they
No,
too.
and I read a thing that after they did all the concert footage and stuff, Grace and everything, we'll get to that later, that they had to film additional information in Dublin because the songs and stuff needed explanation.
Yeah.
It wasn't like filmed so that you understood everything that was going on. So they had to go back and add the footage that's
That's
the
the
Point
point.
Depot.
Oh, before that became a concert venue.
Yeah. We've been there.
We have been there.
Yeah, we have.
Except now it's called the Three Arena.
Yes, it is. But I think it was the O2 at first or something. Whatever the cell phone,
Before, I think it was the Point and then O2 and
but
then Three Arena. And maybe there was something else. I have been there when it was the Point. Was it the Point? I saw
no, I think
Sting. I saw hashtag Sting there.
I have a hashtag sting later.
You do.
I do. Remind me though, if I forget it. I don't think I'll forget it. Okay, do you want to dive in and start off with a song Charles Manson stole from the Beatles?
Oh,
And
we're
we're stealing
stealing
it
it back.
back. Helter Skelter.
This was actually like introduction to this song.
Really?
Yeah. And so I mean, of course, I like this version better. Because it just hits because I was a young U2 fan and I loved everything they did without much criticism at all.
I think we'll agree to disagree on that one.
That's fine. I'm not saying that is a good opinion. I'm just telling you that's where
Right.
my
I totally
I'm
totally
not
get
saying
that.
I'm correct. It's just where I am. A funny part about that opening line that this is a song Charles Manson stole from the Beatles was that was just a throwaway line. It was like his mood of the night. It wasn't something he usually said. But we all know he was really into like serial killers.
As for some reason I am as well lately. And a helter skelter is a British term for a spiral slide.
Oh,
Fun fact.
well, yeah.
Charles Manson used the term helter skelter to describe what would happen after a world ending race war that he used to justify his violence. Helter skelter. That's what was going to be after the races killed each other.
Yeah.
We were going to live in a state of helter skelter. It was also the name of an investigative biography on the Manson family.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Bono said that Helter Skelter was exactly what we were going through on the Joshua Tree tour. It was one of the worst times of our musical lives. First, a falling light cut me up, and I had to have stitches in my chin. My voice failed for the first week because of dry heat. The press came to the opening show, and I couldn't sing. We were on the run the whole time, and I busted up my shoulder, was in a lot of pain. And I found that I was drinking a lot just to stop the pain. So, lots of meanings there.
Right. And, this story is that, he had a wife and two babies, and he was just struggling with, his band and his family. And that was a really awful time for him. So everybody was kind of in a state of Helter Skelter. YouTube have said many, many times that they're not a great wedding band.
Right.
They're not a great cover band. And they're not. No, their Instant Karma cover is very, very good.
Yeah. I haven't heard that in a long time.
I really like that. That's one of the exceptions to the rule. But if you listen to the original song, it's like, I don't know, but it's a John Lennon song, and he has some way of making it like manic.
Yes.
And you two don't even get close to that. Their version is so slowed down. And I feel like almost that, Manson probably had a better understanding of the song than you two did. That said, it is fun to watch it. I think that the way that they open the movie with it and the opening titles and everything is brilliant.
It's so good. I think it's perfect.
It's a great way to start the movie.
And we get to meet Edge's love of the bolo tie.
We do.
Right off the bat.
Boom, in.
Bring it on. Way to embrace America, man. Like, the vest, the bolo tie. He's really got it going on.
So my brother had a kind of funny thing to say about their fashions. One was that they all look like Bond villain. He also says that, speaking of Bono, that when you're already short and you wear oversized clothes, you look even smaller. He pretty much looks like he's 7.
Well, this is something that I learned watching rattle&hum, is that, even today he wears like a cummerbund.
Right.
Like, he's got something. And in rattle&hum, he's got like the suspenders and the really, really high-waisted pants. And
really high-waisted
really
pants.
High. But he's got like that scarf that's like a cummerbund. He is just creating a waist.
I guess so. He looks just fine the way he is.
Yeah.
It's like when he exaggerates that stuff, he's not helping his cause.
That's true. I don't know. I personally think he looks damn fine in rattle&hum.
Oh my God, he does. And my brother actually also said that as well.
Yeah.
He was pretty.
Oh,
I don't think Jeremy said that, but he was super hot.
Yeah. His hair, gorgeous hair, and like toned arms, and just his nice little tushy.
Nice tushy, no flap.
Look great.
That also maybe was covered up by the cummerbund and the
cummerbund. Yeah.
But who knows? I mean,
could cummerbunds be my U2 cover band?
It could be.
Not a very good one. The cummerbunds.
Oh.
Well, that's good. It's a great opening.
Obviously, the lyrics were written by Lennon and McCartney, and they were recorded in McNichols Arena in Denver, Colorado on November 8th, 1987, which was 2 days after my 14th birthday.
Math.
Yes.
2 days after your birthday.
2 days after my birthday.
In 87.
In 87.
So some of the funnest parts of rattle&hum are the little snippets with the band. And right after Helter Skelter, they go to one of those little interviews.
Where the question is specifically, what has happened since the writing of the Joshua Tree album, the recording of the Joshua Tree album, and the recording of the new songs?
And Bono pointed to Adam. They specifically wanted everyone to speak in the film except Bono, because he sings all the songs.
Right.
So they're like, Adam? He's like, well, I don't know.
So and then Phil says, we captured, it's different from the War album, which we captured in Under a Blood Red Sky. He just kind of talks in a hand motion.
Tried to sound really smart.
Yeah.
And then Phil said, I knew this would never work.
Yes. And Bono says, is that beer coming?
And then like a second later,
demanding rock star, go get your own beer.
A second later, he's got a big ass beer in his hand.
A really big beer.
It wasn't a 40. It was a tall one though.
It was really I think it was the only thing I ever saw in cans like that when I was younger was, is it Foster, the Australian beer? I could be making that up too.
But they totally clammed up in front of the camera like every time.
They did, and I remember reading a review way back in the day that those little scenes kind of were frowned upon because they were, they were this serious band. And when
Yeah.
they were asked a serious question, they just blew it all off. Weird answers, funny answers, and laughing at, where I look back and I'm like, well, good for them laughing at themselves because the rest of us are doing it too.
Yeah, right?
But that was apparently a big, critics really had a field day with that they were asked a serious question and they just kind of goofed off and really didn't. So
Right.
when Phil Joannou said, I knew this wouldn't work, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah. The next song is, oh, we love to talk about when Edge sings.
Edge scene is just the best thing ever. I love Edgy.
I love Edgy. And this was, I didn't know that he sang this song until I saw the movie. And I remember being like, Dad! I'm hollering across the room. Dad, the guitar player sings it and he looks like a pirate.
As they do.
Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that this beautiful voice was coming out of this pirate attired man.
So it was written by the Edge Music and Lyrics and recorded at Point Depot, Dublin, Ireland, in May of 1988.
I had read that Edge had written it with the hopes that Bono would sing it, but Bono said he has to keep his head in one continent. Like, right. I'm sorry that you cannot see me roll my eyes there. And because it's actually Irish/Australia content, I guess Bono couldn't get there.
Right. Well, there was a Irish uprising in 1848 that was plotted against the British because they were basically oppressing the Irish during the potato famine. The uprising failed, and the leaders of the uprising were deported to Tasmania, which the Irish referred to Tasmania as Van Diemen's Land. Is that what you have?
I do. It's specifically John Boyle O'Reilly. It's a gentleman's name. The video is absolutely gorgeous. There's a lot of it is shot on the Irish Sea and going down the Liffey. It's just a really beautiful view of Dublin City as a coastal town.
First time I went to Dublin, like, I just have chills thinking about it. But that's real. I mean, like, you feel that. You feel that walking on the dock.
It's so true. And it's just lovely to hear Edge sing. It's just
wonderful. Bono there was some live thing. I don't know if it was they were on some TV show or something, but there is a version of Bono singing it, which
really,
yeah. Look it up on YouTube somewhere. I know it's there, and I feel like Bono and Edge both had guitars, and Bono like used his as a drum. he just kind of hit the guitar instead of actually playing it, but he sang it, which I didn't like as much.
No, I'll have to look it up. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah.
Well, once you know it and love it so much one way, it's hard to hear.
It is, but definitely look that up. It wasn't like back then. I feel like it was maybe definitely in the 2000s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was just like really random, but I know it's there. You know what? I think maybe it was for...
Was it a benefit of sorts?
I don't think so. I think it... and I could be totally wrong about this, but I think it was when the Point Depot became the O2, when they
Yeah, Brandon.
I feel like it has something to do with that, but I could be totally wrong. I maybe just pulled that out of my butt.
We'll look it up and find it.
Okay.
So the next song, we start getting into the really fun stuff.
Yes, we do.
And it's Desire.
Which one?
And I love, so this was also shot at the Point Depot, and it's obviously a draft version. It's not the same lyrics that's on the album. Same, idea and same energy, but it's cool to see it like a little bit of the process.
Yeah. It went straight to number 1 on the UK charts. And let me say,
This is the first single. This is the first single off the album.
It was the first single. I usually say how many times the song's been played and how many times I've heard it. I've not done that for this album.
I didn't do that either.
It was recorded again at the Point Depot, May of '88.
This is one of Edge's favorite songs off the album.
It's like a Bo Diddley kind of tune, but it holds up. This song has been reinvented live so many times. It's just, I feel like it always is current. Like,
you can
talk about Reagan through this song, and then, in E&I, it was very much a Trump song, like a preacher stealing hearts on a traveling show.
I have this thing from Bono. It says, on one level, I'm starting to criticize these lunatic fringe preachers stealing heart at a traveling show, but I'm also starting to realize that there's a real parallel there between what I'm doing and what they are. There's a great story from Edge. I think it's this song. He was at home, and I guess they had just bought a new house and they were getting ready to move, but he was at the old house and he was playing the guitar and he couldn't find the recorder to record the chords he was playing, and like the doorbell rang and it was the postman, and he opened the door and he's still like playing these chords. Well, the postman's like, put the mail over there. Because he couldn't stop. He loved the chord progression so much, and it was a song, and he eventually went, after the mailman came and left, he went and found his recorder.
That's funny. It's a great song.
Yeah. Well, what is after Desire? Oh, then we get to Exit.
Exit.
Yeah.
The next song in the movie is Exit, which I don't care in what context. If you're playing Exit, it's probably the best performance of the night. Probably. They, interestingly, my brother commented on this when we were watching. He was like, so you too have a song called Gloria, but that's not the one that Bono snipped into Exit.
Nope.
Van Morrison's version, which was covered also by Patti Smith. It was recorded at McNichols Arena in Denver on November 8th, 1987. It is not on the album, but in the movie, yes. Which I think is a mistake, personally, because that is one heck of a performance.
It is an amazing performance, and Bono's gun show is strong.
Yes.
He's like, definitely. Take me to the gun show.
I mean, like,
fix my fucking guitar. He spends, like, the big, huge, like, climax of the song, he spends half the time, like, fucking with the monitors for his guitar.
Yeah, he does do that. And you barely hear the guitar anyway.
The song still sounds great.
Yeah.
And it's the one they used, so... What you doing there, buddy?
I don't know. Maybe he just wanted us to see his tushy.
Okay.
But, I mean...
Looks like he knows what he's doing.
I read also, that for the Joshua Tree was the first time, they had their own plane and whatever. But I'm thinking that maybe the guns are because even though they had their own plane, they still had to carry their own luggage.
Maybe.
Because I just don't see Bono being on tour and making sure that, he goes to the gym.
In his weights.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's got to be luggage right there.
Well, and also he's just like a young dude in his 20s, and anything he did like 10 years prior just sticks with guys.
Thanks. Yeah.
It just sticks with them.
Yeah.
And apparently he had some foray in boxing that there's some strange photos of.
I mean, I think that also, he discusses his drinking of the time, and I think there might have been some, punching, etc.
Yeah, that's actually why he switched from, like, whiskey to wine.
Well, he's got to have whiskey with us.
Well, duh.
Bite your tongue there, Jenny. He can
There's
have
some
whiskey.
Story about how living in California, how whiskey wouldn't make him tired, and he would get all amped up and get into bar fights. So he switched to wine because it made him sleepy. I don't think that keeps him from having casual whiskey drink.
No, not at all. It's a whiskey.
I want to tell you that my glass tonight says, it's beginning to look a lot like cocktails. Requires singing.
I still have my clear flask that
I quite like
definitely looks like it could be a pee sample to someone who's very dehydrated. Cheers.
Cheers.
Screwball.
It's like candy on the lip.
It's my happy place.
Do we even need to say anything else about Exit? Because this performance is just perfection.
No, I don't think so. We should move on.
And I will say that the Van Morrison Gloria fits in there so perfectly, and he did it again on the last leg of the tour, which he hadn't done since the 80s, I don't think.
I don't think so either. Well, I mean, he hadn't played Exit.
Right, but he had been playing Exit for the last year plus, like...
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we never heard Gloria
in
Exit.
No, it wasn't until this last leg. Some of the last shows he did it.
Right. So we should move on to the next song in the
Yeah,
movie.
which is quite a change up.
It is. When you listen to the Joshua Tree and you hear I still haven't found what I'm looking for, you don't think right away it's like a gospel song the way they perform it.
Right. In hindsight, yeah, sure. But
Sure.
not right there and then. But I guess this choir from Harlem sent a demo tape to Island Records of them singing a cover of the song. And it got to the band and they were like, that might be interesting. It sounds a bit different. I'm like, duh, it sounds fucking amazing.
Amazing. New Voices of Freedom.
Amazing.
So, interesting thing that also, I watched the movie on Saturday night with my brother and my sister-in-law, and my brother had a whole lot of interesting things to say, but,
We should say this is your brother Jeremy, who was
my
on our
brother
last
Jeremy, who you guys know
episode.
so well, right?
Yeah.
Jeremy. You'll meet my brother Will one day.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of read more, but he just kind of was like, really like, were they just kind of pushing things to like go to have the song with, a gospel choir to like try to have a different audience or something? And I did think about that though they did self-aid and though they have these Martin Luther King songs, they really had failed to kind of take on the class and racial divide as their fan base.
Yes. There's some quote about that. And it was like, we can't help who listens to us.
No, you can't help that
you
at
can't
all.
control your audience.
No.
But you're right. They probably thought they were taking on some of these class and racial issues, but weren't reaching the people they were singing about.
If you have the chance to go on YouTube, there's a video where Bono gets cannot remember what it's called, but the NAACP Vision or something award. It's a huge honor. And I feel like, I don't know, if you listen to that speech, it does kind of bridge the divide a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. I believe it to be the best speech he's ever given.
It's called the Chairman's Award. It is from the NAACP.
Yeah,
it was in 2007.
And I've showed that video to people who honestly didn't know who Bono was. An old coworker of mine who was older. And I showed it to her and she was like freaking out. Like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
I'm like, wake up. It's Bono.
Duh.
They didn't do so great in bridging the old baby boomer Southern non-drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ladies too. No. He didn't bridge that gap very well.
No.
But that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. There's a really cute little video before this song comes on with Edge, also at the point, talking about, he talks about how they got this tape and, it's like, it sounded really different, and it's cute to hear them sound so young. He sounds like a child.
So when they get there, Larry is very excited to have his very own conga. My very own conga.
Which you can't hear.
No, and then
except one time
he puts it down.
Yeah, one time they like zoom in on it during the song and you can hear the pitter patter of it. Yeah. But that is it.
That's it. So another not so fun fact about this was shortly before they recorded I Still Haven't Found Looking For with the New Voices of Freedom, Bono was in DC performing Exit, and it had rained and he ran and slipped and fell right on his shoulder.
Oh, he broke the shit out of it.
Causing much destruction.
That's on the outtakes. You can look that up.
And that's what the outtakes are, don't watch them.
We'll just tell you.
We're just going to tell you, and I assure you, we're probably more entertaining to hear it from than actually watching the real thing.
Drink.
They were, Bono was just totally dazed, and they're in a limo, and the film is going while they're in the limo, and he clearly is like in total agony. He's drinking too, I believe.
Yeah, and it's hard to hear him. Like, it's not even, you can look it up and see it, but you can't really understand stuff. But
no, but
Allie's on one side and Paul McGinnis is on the other, and it's like the whole film crew. And I feel like he's
covered in a towel.
He's trying to be cool and like smooth, and we're like, dude. Just
like
shut
you
up.
see, yeah, and he looks like he is in serious pain. And so they get into the emergency room and put him in his little, exam room. And he's very concerned that he's wet because he's sweaty.
Yes.
And he's covered in a towel. And the nurses say, "Don't worry." And they're like, "Okay, we need your name and your social security number or something." And they're like, "What's
Oh
your
yeah, the
name?"
social security. He's like,
They're like, "What's your name?"
they needed a last
He's just,
name.
he's just like, and they're like, Allie says, "I'm his wife. I can give you that information."
Yeah.
Because he could not get his shit together to say his name, any sort
No.
of his name, any version of
No.
his name. Poor Bono. That was a little
I
heartbreaking.
do remember because I just watched it recently, they specifically asked for his last name. And
Yeah,
this was like, there,
nothing. He
there's
had
no
nothing.
answer. I don't have one.
I think the nurse said something like, you'll be to Allie, you'll be able to provide his social security number, insurance, or whatever." And she's like, "Yeah." Anyway, it's funny to see because he's so out of it, but it's not funny because
He's so out of it.
he's so out of it, the poor thing.
I
And it
know.
really was that I just feel awful with that whole tour because he just seemed to suffer big time.
I know. I never had anyone talk about, did they just stop the show? Did they cancel the show right there?
I think they had like hold on.
Was it towards the end?
I looked it up. That Washington D.C. show, which
Yeah.
was on September 20th, 1987, at RFK Memorial Stadium. He fell during exit and continued on to play another 8 songs.
No.
Yes, mind you, it looks like they cut one song from, I don't know what it was, but they cut one song from the main set and one song from the encore.
Still.
But still, holy crap, man. He probably was also in shock.
Yeah. Holy crap. Because that was
That's
messed up. Oh,
dedicated.
so that's something to mention. So on the album, it's a live performance. Well, it's all live. On the album, I think I still haven't found what I'm looking for is a concert performance. While on the video, it's in the church.
Correct. I believe
Is
it
that
was at
correct?
Madison Square Garden.
Okay. He's in a cast.
This like weird apparatus,
It
mechanical
is.
thing.
He's got a scrunchie in his hair
A white scrunchie.
that someone had to do for him.
Absolutely. Well,
And
it was
Adam is just like clapping, not to a beat. It's concerning
it is
because
concerning.
he's the bass player
Right.
who keeps the beat.
Oy, Adam.
Oh, maybe they clipped in his part wrong. No.
Perhaps. I think Edge said when he was at the point discussing this, he said that they went. I'm sorry. He said they went down to Harlem, and I'm like, down to
Yeah.
Harlem from where?
Right?
Right, Maine. I mean, like, where
He
the
doesn't
heck?
know.
I mean, like now I get it that they go
Harlem is
over and
not
a little bit
downtown.
up, but down to Harlem. That's just not.
Mm-mm.
No, honey. No. So, should we move on to the next song, which I'm so
Yeah.
excited about?
I just want to say that that's a really cool version, and those, like the solo people in the church, just win the whole.
Absolutely. Oh my God. I mean, they definitely put the band to shame there. But God, what a beautiful song. My dad has that on his iPhone playlist.
Oh, that version.
That version.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good. And as we talked about when we did our Joshua Tree, the original Joshua Tree app, I just have a whole new love of that song
I
since
agree with
hearing it
that.
live in context with the Joshua Tree. I mean, I've always loved it, but
Mhm.
now I hear it and like I stop in my tracks.
And I for a really long time fought loving that song, but I just love it.
It's so good. So what's the next song?
The next song in the movie is Silver and Gold, written
Ooh.
written by Bono, recorded at McNichols Arena on November 8th, 1987. It is both on the album and in the movie.
We talked a little bit about this song on our Do Good
Yep.
app. Good Stuff. I'm sorry. The
Good
Good
stuff.
Stuff app. We didn't really get into it.
Okay, so if you don't know the backstory of Silver and Gold, this song was written in a hotel room in New York City.
Right about the time a friend of ours, little Steven, was putting together a record of artists against apartheid.
This song was written about a man in a shanty town outside of Johannesburg.
A man who's sick of looking down the barrel of white South Africa.
A man who is at the point where he is ready to take up arms against his oppressor.
A man who has lost faith in the peacemakers of the West while
While
they
they
argue
argue, and while they fail to support a man like Bishop Tutu.
and his requests for economic sanctions against South Africa.
Am I bugging you?
Don't mean to bug ya.
Okay, Ed.
Play the blues.
So, hashtag Sting. I noticed from listening to the song 8,000 times in preparation for this episode, when Bono says, outside are the prisoners, inside the free, set them free. Every single time I hear this song, in my head, I go, free, free, set them free.
Set them free. I will now from all of time.
Yeah, so it's like outside are the prisoners, inside the free. Free, free, set them free. Set them free.
So, interestingly enough, like months and months and months ago on Twitter, a discussion came up about this song and about Bono saying, okay, Edge, play the blues, and how then Edge does not play the blues.
No.
I was like, well, I don't know. I was like, it's all open to interpretation. I don't know anything about this shit. Whatever. But then in preparation for this, I read someone said because the band was trying so hard to immerse themselves in American music and including the blues without actually knowing anything. And that this just emphasized Bono's misunderstanding of all of it.
Right. Or maybe he was telling Edge to play the blues, and Edge was like, I will not play the blues.
No, I'm gonna play this fucking badass shit.
Right.
Love hearing how this song went from Bono on the guitar to the full band.
Yeah,
It's
I love
amazing.
Amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And I have to say, every time I hear it, I'm so proud of Bono. Good for him for writing a song entirely by himself. It's a good song too. It's not just like here's something.
It is a great song.
So I have no research on this. This is just my own quandary. Did he just give this speech once, or did he give it every night he played Silver and Gold? I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know either.
Let's just pretend he's just saying it. He just said it once.
He just sang it once just for us.
Yeah. And it was just off the cuff. He didn't have anything written in advance or anything.
Of course not.
No.
Because it's a unique piece of art.
Yeah, it is. Definitely.
I would be interested actually to know the answer to that. But maybe not interested enough to look.
I'm not interested enough to look because I've wondered this for quite some weeks now and I've never looked it up.
Yeah. So why look now?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, but after this, they go to a little press conference.
They did go to a press conference.
They clip to a little press conference, and they talk about how they went to Sun Studios in Memphis. And
even though it's been other things like
barbershop
and a store, it's still the same
original tiles.
And they dug out what someone told them was an original microphone that Elvis sang. They recorded with Cowboy Jack Clemens, who recorded with a whole lot of shaking going on with Jerry Lee Lewis. None of this written down.
No, they did 5 songs in 5 hours.
Which I also do not believe that.
No. What's funny is that, so the next song that they play is Angel of Harlem. It's in the Sun Studios. It's obviously not the final version that ends up on the album. But like cute little moment is that they start and they have to stop because Larry's like scratching his bare feet.
Larry Mullen Jr.
Which is actually kind of gross.
Yes.
And Ed said, if I had feet like that, I wouldn't want them in the film, Lawrence. And then Larry has the ultimate comeback.
The ultimate comeback. If I had a face like yours, I'd bleed and bury it. I didn't write anything down for this because I just know it.
So if we go back, like, I feel like, I don't know why, but this is one of our songs.
And I don't know why either, but it definitely is. I don't
It,
remember the origin.
yeah, me neither. But it's very special to us. Like, we hear it and I go, oh, it's my Hillary song.
I think it has to do with maybe that it was a frequent song on the B stage or like at the tip of the heart kind of thing, and that's where we are
And we just
always,
owned it.
yeah, we
I
just
think
kind
you're
of hung
right.
out in that neighborhood, and so I think that just became our song because
That sounds about right.
let's just go with
Because
that
we loved
story.
it together.
Yeah. I love the lyrics, and I visited Jenny on many a cold and wet December day, and I
Not in New York,
always
no.
no, I always send that. Well, no, a lot of times though, my layover is in New York,
Okay,
so I
fair.
do get to say, but I would not at JFK. It's LGA
Rhymes.
or CLE because
Yeah.
I touch the ground at CLE.
If you ask Bono, because I read this recently in an interview, but I think he said it other times too, like, tell us about your first time in America. Tell us about landing and seeing America for the first time. And he says, listen to Angel of Harlem. Like, he doesn't need to
Yeah.
describe it because the lyrics are already there. Like, that's exactly
Except
what it was.
I don't think that they first performed in New York. I'm pretty sure their first U.S. performance. No, never mind. I could be totally wrong with that. Hold
Well,
on
I
one
like
second.
his storytelling of it.
Okay, let's just leave it at that.
I'm just
Forget
go
it.
with his storytelling because I like that.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe they landed. I thought their first show ever in the US was in DC. So maybe they flew to JFK and then had a bus or a car
Maybe
or something.
everything can happen.
Everything.
I said Bono calls it a jukebox song, which
Is
is
it?
like I don't think it's an insult. Like it is.
It
It's
is a jukebox
perfect.
song. It
It's
is.
perfect.
I love this song. And it does have, I don't know that it's a not bluesy, but it definitely has an American twang to it.
Yeah, it makes sense that it was recorded at Sun Studios.
Yeah.
It really does. There's a fun story about that 5 hours and the five songs. Is that Bono thought he would liven up the group, and so he ordered a case of Absolute.
I love this story.
And Cowboy
Vodka.
Jack yelled at him, was like, give everyone vodka except the horn players. And Bono's like, why? Why can't, like, he's like, you don't want them to be loose-lipped
You can't play horns if you
with
can't
loose
feel your
lips.
lips.
Like, just a case of Absolute? Like,
Ew.
what the fuck?
It was the 80s.
It was
You
the
know, they had
80s.
those ads in all the magazines.
I know. He later switched to Grey Goose.
Yeah. Much better, much smoother.
So much
Um,
smoother.
I
I
just love
like to note that Larry has broken all the rules, all the garden type rules, and is wearing a Sun Studio shirt in Sun Studios.
so. Funnily enough, my sister Freddie mentioned that when we were
Yeah.
watching the movie, and she was like, "Doesn't he know the cardinal rule that you don't wear like concert shirt to the concert you're going to?" And then I had to tell them the sad story about how when I was staying at their house and I had this cute little tank top I was going to wear. And their cat peed in my suitcase, and the only shirt that didn't have pee on it was a Joshua Tree tank
Oh
top that I
no.
had to wear to an E&I show.
Oh, that's
Cat
the
peed
worst
in
day
my
of your life.
suitcase. And but as I told the story, I'm like pointing, like,
Damn you all.
your cat, it was your cat peed in my suitcase, and the only shirt I had
It wasn't
was
even your cat. It was their cat.
their cat.
Oh,
I know. And
Jennifer.
just saying the defense was, well, maybe they smelled my cat on the suitcase. And I'm like, I got that suitcase because I was depressed when my cat died. And it was a large purchase. It was retail
Yeah.
therapy. So my cat never came near that
Oh.
suitcase. So that's not a good defense.
I have a
Anyway,
little running joke in my head because well, we don't know, but I'm assuming that that shirt was not sold as a muscle shirt slash
no.
tank top. So one of my favorite things that my favorite trainer says to me at the gym is to be like, I'll be like, is that a new shirt? And she says, no, it just had too many parts, so I cut the sleeves off.
Right. Aw.
And so I think Larry thinks that clothes have too many parts.
Yeah,
So he just
I'm
cuts them.
sure. But if you got those guns, you should show them.
Yeah, and he's working those out. I mean, I'm not chastising him. I'm maybe just
No.
giving him props for cutting his
Yeah.
shit up.
So this is totally off topic, but kind of my little cousin who is 6 in the summer will only wear muscle shirts, and he loves to tell people, "This is my muscle shirt. Do you like my muscle shirt?" It's like, oh my God, it's so freaking cute. It just melts my heart.
So my almost 10-year-old was at the playground the other day with a friend, and she came home and she was like, Mom, I was at the playground and I realized I've gotten stronger. And I'm like, really? Did you do something you couldn't do before? She's like, no, I went like this and I just realized I had more muscle. Like
Oh,
she made her own little gun show. I'm
right.
like, kid, you can't see anything. I didn't say that to her.
No. So they recorded those 5 songs in 5 hours on November 30th, 1987. Sun Studios, Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes.
I have a lot to say about the next performance.
Okay.
The next song is All Along the Watchtower.
Yes.
And I believe it was also Edgy at the Point Depot who said, sometimes being on tour is so boring. And you have
Hmm.
this schedule. How does he say it?
Schedule.
Schedule. He has a schedule. And you just like to, do stuff that was different. So what they decided to do was have a free concert in San Francisco. And they
Yeah.
called it
Save the Yuppies
Save the
benefit.
Yuppies. Like, they needed saving. I mean, maybe from
Yes.
their cocaine and yachts and
Massive amounts of
etc.
money. Yeah.
And their, savings and loans defaults and stuff. But there was no saving Yuppies. It was a big joke. So apparently the next show, it was just really, this was last minute. And the following show was supposed to be in Vancouver, and all their equipment, their sound system was in
Gone.
Vancouver. And so when you're in San Francisco and you need a sound system, what do?
You call the Grateful Dead.
As you do. So they use the Grateful Dead's equipment.
Yeah, on the back of
Um,
a truck, I believe.
so All Along the Watchtower, written by Bob Dylan, recorded at Justin Herman Plaza, San Francisco, on November 11th, 1987. Okay, so here's my light, funny story about it. I love this song. It's one of my all-time favorite songs.
Is
And
you too, or just in general?
no, I hate U2's version of it.
Okay.
Bob Dylan's version of it.
Okay.
So my brother was like, which one, Bob Dylan or Jimi
Jimi
Hendrix?
Hendrix.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, Jimi Hendrix is great, but it's Bob Dylan. This just is a very sacred song to me. Another really super weird thing about this song is that my deceased cat was obsessed with the harmonica. No matter where she was in the house, if I played the Bob Dylan version of All on
Yeah.
the Watchtower, she would come running from wherever she was, even if she was eating food, if she was taking a nap, it didn't matter. And it would make her like weirdly affectionate, like she needed 20 kisses and she drooled. So it was something with the tone of the harmonica. But I played her plenty other harmonica songs and she had no reaction to them. It's just something
That is
about I
crazy.
have video, like I'm not making this up. Like
I
she for
believe
real
you.
did that. And I have many videos because it just sounds so unreal. But they performed on a flatbed truck in the middle of a business district.
Right.
It looks like at lunchtime or something.
Yeah.
There were a bazillion people there. They had a trailer behind the flatbed truck, and not a trailer, a camper. And while in the
Yeah.
camper, they decided that's when they should figure out how to play this song.
Well, my favorite part is to say, "Are you ready?" And they're like, "Yeah, 2 minutes. We just have to figure out this song,
Right.
or as
And
soon as
then
we learn this song."
their manager is like, does anyone have the lyrics to All Along the Watchtower? No, including Bono.
Apparently, apparently, I read somewhere that Bono knew them, but the rest of the band didn't know the song.
It
But
was troublesome because you know what? That is it. He did have the lyrics right. I totally
He was
take
the
that back.
only one that knew
They
the
couldn't
song.
figure out how to end the song, so Bono had to start the lyrics again, which is why I think he didn't know the lyrics. But you're right, he totally did. I love this song. It's very sacred. So I'm not a fan of that performance. Bono did add some very classic U2 lyrics into
Yeah.
it. All I got is a red guitar, three chords, and the truth.
Yeah, the red guitar is a tribute back to Desire.
Yeah. Well, Bono, and I don't remember where this came from, but Bono said he went guitar shopping with Edge one day and said, "How do you pick a guitar?" And Edge was like, "The red one."
I
Um,
never heard that. That's funny.
yeah. He didn't have like, oh, well, it needs to be a Fender or Gretsch or whatever. He was
Right.
just like, yeah, the red one looks good.
I kind of pick shoes that way.
Oh, yeah,
It
absolutely.
works out. There, I guess when they were recording this, the sound engineer fucked up and missed the beginning of the song, missed the intro. So Edge added that in post-production.
Yes. Bono was still back in his wandering vigilante stage, which I
Yeah.
think ended at this date,
You
maybe.
mean when there ended up being a warrant for his arrest?
That is correct.
Yeah.
He defaced public property, and at the time, the mayor of San Francisco, who was future Senator Dianne Feinstein, had like
Like a bounty.
a bounty on anyone that graffitied
Graf-
anything.
Yeah. And so he was going against that.
He spray painted on an underpass or an overpass or whatever. Rock and roll stops the traffic.
Last summer, I was at this place in Amarillo, Texas, called Cadillac Ranch. You can Google it, but it's a public installation of these Cadillacs that are half buried in the ground. And you take your own spray paint and you color them, and I put rock and roll stops the traffic.
Oh, hey, I don't think I ever saw that one at Windmill Lane.
I'm
Mm-mm.
sure someone did it at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At this point in the movie, Bono has his full-on pirate earring.
He does.
He does. He's like, "Arr,
And he's
look
wearing
at
a,
me,
a
pirate
vest and a puffy
earring."
shirt
Yeah.
to go with the
So
pirate. Yeah. Oh, so this was interesting. Also, my brother Jeremy pointed this out that he has to, you can't read what he graffitied, so he has to read it out loud.
yeah.
He has to say rock and roll stops the traffic
Rock and roll stops the traffic.
because you can't read it
I
and he's
wonder,
a really bad handwriting anyway.
is the performance on the video and the performance on the record the same show, just edited? Or did
I
they
believe
perform
so.
this in concert? Gotcha.
I don't
It's
have the
just
picture.
edited. It's edited for the album.
Yeah,
Because that stuff's not in there. Are we good with that?
I'm good with that. Should we move on to the next?
Yeah. But let's take a quick pause and hear from our sponsor.
Okay.
Hey there, friends. Jenny here from the Garden Tarts, and I want to tell you about Anchor, which is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it is 100% free, and there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard across multiple platforms, including Spotify and Apple. You can make money with your podcast, and it's everything you need to create a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
So we're back and we're within God's country. In
God's
God's
country.
country.
So my I don't have a whole lot of. This is a great performance. I love Bono's
Yeah.
really playing the guitar. It's not turned down. It's not. He's playing it. The other thing is, he looks so happy during this
So
song,
happy.
and like all the other songs, he's just like 80s Bono who just was always just like serious
Miserable.
and stressed out saving the world kind of thing. He like smiles. You can see his brand new teeth
Oh, they're gorgeous.
that he got for the Joshua tree.
Fuck yeah.
He
About
did.
time.
Sure thing. I mean, if you're gonna have the biggest album in the world, you probably should get new teeth.
Yeah.
Or
We
fix the
talked
ones you already
about,
have.
yeah, there you go. We talked about and this is for the whole movie, but because I just listened back to our like Under a Blood Red Sky episode where he took off his shirt, and we were talking about how that was just purely function because he's not a guy to take off his shirt.
Yeah.
But all through this movie, he is just mostly just has a vest on. He's
Yes.
bare
If
chested.
that. Yes, he is.
He's also like in the desert, but I don't know. I think we forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not necessarily a guy to take his shirt off that much, but I think we
No,
forgot how
no.
bare chested he was in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's just a note to be made.
Yeah. I just love this version. This just makes me happy. He looks happy. We're all happy. Yay.
Yeah. There's one of my favorite little snippets in the movie comes after this where they all go backstage. And like, I don't know, one of the things that they talk about in the movie was that it was hard to be themselves with the camera on them. So I never know when they're being weird and awkward or when they're just being authentic.
I think that part you're speaking of, they were being weird and awkward.
I think you're right. They go backstage, and there's this little tiny dressing room, and there's some woman there to help Bono like change his shirt. But Bono's like, complimenting Larry that he was really smashing the cymbals.
And Adam says, "Pass me a tissue,
Tissue,
Clinton."
please. And then they're like, this is on the BB song. Watch for the third verse, not the first verse or the second verse, but the third verse, which comes after the second verse.
And Larry's like,
It's all at Adam, though. Yeah, it's all at Adam.
Yeah. He's like, boom in because Edge is on a completely different beat as usual or something. As usual. It feels very rehearsed.
It's like they're pretending to have shop talk.
Right.
When really they're just talking simple math.
No, but right. But so I've watched this movie a lot. I've followed you two for many, 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 many years. And the expressions on Bono's face in that scene, I've never seen before and never seen again. Like, he's not a good actor. Just
No.
gotta leave it at that. Don't quit your day job.
Either that or Adam just really sucked at the BB King song.
He maybe did. Yeah.
That they had to lay it out so blatantly.
I feel like there's, look at me, are you looking at me in the eye? Because you need to listen. Listen here.
You don't hear this, you're never going to get it.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So the next song is When Love Comes to Town.
With BB King.
BB King and the BB King band.
And the BB King's band.
Which is great because, like, this band doesn't have a name, but Bono was like, BB King and the BB King's band. He, like, has to pause. Like, his band doesn't have a name.
I think this performance is really cool in the video because they snippet together some sound check stuff and some live stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they piece it all together in a way that's really cool.
Well, I read that Bono said that he wrote the lyrics while he was in the bath in about 10 minutes.
Pooping.
He was pooping. He wasn't in the bath. He was in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet, probably.
Yeah, he wasn't. I'm sorry, but gentlemen are not writing lyrics while they're peeing.
No, I read this exactly the way you did. That he's sitting on the can.
He was taking a dump.
And for 10 minutes, BB King was waiting downstairs, and BB King's like, dude, we all know you're upstairs taking a dump. No, we all know this.
You think it was a nervous poop?
It maybe was a nervous poop, but
if I was meeting with BB King, who had requested a song, and I didn't have a song yet, shit in my brain.
Or maybe he used the poop as the excuse to take the time to write the song. I don't know. But he said that, he wrote it while BB King was downstairs. He said it was a deeply humbling thing to watch BB King read his lyrics for the first time.
Yeah, he was really impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great lyrics. They're
amazing lyrics.
They deserve praise.
The fun fact about that is Bono is soon to be 2 years younger than B.B. King was when they recorded that song.
Oh, look at that.
B.B. King was 62. He says it. I'm a man of 62 years old.
That's cool.
Yeah. The song's just magnificent. It was recorded at the Tarrant County Convention Center in Fort Worth, Texas on November 24th, 1987. So I was on the train watching this part of the video, and I had this insight. B.B. King makes playing the guitar look so effortless.
Yes.
Edge doesn't. Edge looks like he's working hard at this. And Bono looks like, when he's playing guitar, like a dude looks when a girl asks him to hold her purse. You can ask a guy to hold your purse for a minute while, you organize something or you need another hand for something. And they are immediately holding it like
Awkward.
like it's, you just put acid in their hand or something and it's burning. Anyway, that's how Bono looks like when he plays guitar. I'm kidding, because actually he looks very comfortable playing guitar in Rattle and Hum, but definitely doesn't look effortless.
He's thinking hard.
Yeah, so anyway, that's my
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
On it. I love it. This is also my favorite of my dad as well.
Yeah, I believe that.
But it's just, oh my God, B.B. King. And he doesn't play chords. There are only like 2 chords in it anyway. Edge will take care of that.
You're right. So cool.
And it's interesting that Bono snaps with his ring finger and his thumb all weird, and then B.B. King claps with the back of his hand, an open hand. It's like, yeah, you guys work pretty well together.
Yeah. It'll be awkward together.
Snaps and claps like that. I don't know. But I love it. And B.B. King's reaction to the lyrics, mighty heavy lyrics, young man.
Yeah, you're mighty young to write such heavy lyrics.
Yes.
And Bono's just like, it's so strange. Well, first of all, he's on stage so incredibly confident.
Yeah.
Like, so confident. And to hear what he has become and to hear him speak now, he has no qualms with speaking.
Yeah.
But to hear anything, any kind of compliment, any kind of anything at this stage, he just like kind of sinks into himself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's really interesting to have seen that evolve.
Yeah. So this is just a take on the whole movie, but I've never seen a U2 show where there hasn't been like at least a moment where Bono seems disconfident.
Yes.
I mean, there's something when he walks out on stage or at some point during the show, he does seem like he's a little nervous. Disconfident is a word, by the way. He says so.
In Bono Glees.
Yeah, if Bono says it's a word, it's a word. That's another story altogether. But and I feel like, except for the personal moments, you don't see that. Like, it's somehow edited out of the film, the times where he looks like he's not all that confident. And I feel like that is something I miss, because, I mean, even when you watch, like, the Sydney show from Zooropa, and you see a moment of him being nervous about something.
Right.
And you don't see that, again, not nervous, but just not confident. And you don't see that except in, the speaking moments during Rattle and Hum. And I feel like the camera has done something to, and that's my favorite part about going to the opening show for a tour, is that, man, he looks like he's gonna puke.
Right? Like, green as can be.
But that to me is just like, he should feel like that. They're new songs. It's, he hadn't been on stage in a while. This is how you should be. That's how a normal human is, in a situation as such.
We went to see the Lumineers just the other night, and in the middle of a song, the singer just stopped. He forgot the lyrics. And then the violinist went up and like whispered to him, and then he kept going, and then he like stopped. The song had a lot of words. Like, it was an intense song. And he like stopped again, and she went off and did like a cold solo to help it. And then at the end he like apologized. It was a really humbling moment, but we had the kids with us, and just a few hours ago, my youngest said to me, Mom, have you ever been to a show before where the singer forgot the lyrics?
Only
No,
50.
yes, have you ever been to a U2 show where Bono forgot the lyrics? And I
Yes,
was like,
ma'am.
yeah, a few times.
Just a hand. Well, but this was also, I had this conversation in DC this weekend that technically they're his lyrics.
You can sing
And if
whatever
he
you
wants
want.
to change them up, he can change them up. It's just when he looks like he caught in the headlights look, then,
Yeah.
if you screw up the lyrics, just play it off where, again, not that great of an actor.
Sing the verse again.
Yeah. This concludes part 1 of our Rattle and Hum episode.
Yeah, let's take a quick break and we'll come back very soon with another episode with the rest of the songs.
Stay tuned to find out what happens at Graceland.
Dun dun dun.
Also, we love hearing from people and chatting with people, and of course, we love talking YouTube. So you can drop us a line on Instagram or Twitter at _gardentarts, or you can even email us at wearethegardentarts@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon. If you enjoy this podcast, we would love it if you would share it with your other YouTube-loving friends, as well as leave a review for us on whatever platform you use to listen to podcasts. We would really, really love that. May your music be loud and your whiskey be strong. Until next time, cheers.